Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching this program from. We welcome you on Matters of Life. And today we are here to discuss about mental health. And today we are honored to have our elder, Elder Fred Guachijaba in our midst. Elder is an elder in the Church of Pentecost. And I will soon give him the opportunity to introduce himself well. We also have our deaconess, Lady Abuabin, also in our midst. He's also a deaconess in the Church of Pentecost. And so before I start with any question, I will give Elder the opportunity to tell us about his field, what he does there.
Okay, thank you very much, viewers, and thank you for watching this program. So my background originally as a teacher, I have over 15 to 20 years experience in teaching in secondary school primarily, and then I moved into mental health. Currently, I am working in a psychiatric intensive care unit, and also I'm working with the urgent care team of the home treatment team, also all in Birmingham.
Thank you so much. We'll give our mommy the opportunity also to explain.
Hello, and thank you, viewers. As Samami said, I am Lydia Boabin. Interestingly, my background is in teaching as well.
Wow.
Originally taught English language for a number of years, then went into library and information science before finally arriving here as a mental health nurse. I currently work with older adults, basically in dementia, but I also deal with people who have other types of mental health illnesses, not just dementia. But when we talk of older adults, it's those who have reached pensionable age that we look after. And I'm based in mostly in Birmingham. Thank you.
Thank you, Mommy. And before I move on, my name is Linda Mary Tediku. I'm your host for tonight. Okay, I want to move on with the questions. I want to ask, what is mental health? When we say mental health, what is mental health?
I would say that mental health is a state of well-being, as the WHO defines it, a state of well-being where the individual realizes their abilities, is able to cope well with life stresses, they are able to work productively and contribute effectively and fruitfully within their community.
Okay.
That is, in a nutshell, what mental health is. Another way of looking at it is to say that is the absence of mental ill health.
Okay.
So when we're talking about illness, as we know in physical health, we have different forms of illnesses, and the absence of a physical illness is seen as wellness. So in the same way, you can look at mental health in that light.
Okay.
And just to add, we are looking at the complete human being in terms of their psychological, emotional, and physical well-being, and how someone is able to think, feel, and act, and to be able to process normal activities of daily living without much restrictions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I've heard that everybody has a mental health. Is that true?
Well, the thing is, what is normal? nobody can define what is normal. Every individual is unique.
Okay.
And every person has a way of responding to issues. So my way of responding to issues may not be the same as yours. However, when we talk about mental illness, it is where your particular way of dealing with issues affects your ability to live your life
Okay.
as an ordinary average person.
Okay. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Mommy.
Just to add a point to that, yes, everybody, when we talk of mental health, everybody can have mental health issues at some point in their life. It is not just limited to a certain age group, a particular gender, or a particular side of society. Everybody can experience mental health issues at some point in their lives.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And so I want to ask, what are some of the issues that leads to mental health? What are some of the issues?
So, Mommy, when she was introducing what is mental health, talks about things that affect us as a person in your body, your environment, and how you carry yourself day to day. Anything can cause a mental health issue.
Okay.
In terms of, I mean, if we're talking about particular things, we can talk about stress, we can talk about trauma, we can talk about genetics, we can talk about old age. A lot of things can determine or can affect someone's mental health. So we won't be able to particularly pinpoint this is what has caused. Even within the mental health, sometimes we struggle to know what the triggers are because the mind is a very complex thing. And remember, up till now, we don't have any machine to go into the mind and determine what is actually wrong with it. If you have got an infection in your body, we can take your bloods, take it to the laboratory, and then they will test to see. However, the mind is not like that. However, it is the way the mind responds to certain things. So many things can happen. People have trauma. People have death. I mean, death is a daily occurrence of life. But how somebody processes death may be different from another person. The impact somebody's death will be different from somebody. Or even the mode of death can have a very traumatic effect on somebody than others. Imagine you seeing a person very close to you, and I'm sorry here if what I'm saying triggers you in any way, but seeing somebody who is so close to you die in a particular way can in itself affect you. Okay. You not having money for an extended period of time and you don't know how you're going to come out of it. All these things are stresses of life, examinations, the pressure of attaining quality education and exams results. All these comes with pressures. I think Mami can add
Right.
to it.
Okay.
Yeah. You can look at it from, say, the human developmental stages as well. So, for example, certain childhood events can lead to mental health issues. Here, I'm talking about what may be termed as abuse, what may be termed as neglect. These things can have an impact in later life. Also, as Elder alluded to, life stresses. So being unemployed for a period of time, being isolated for whatever reason, being unaccepted in the community or the neighborhood, the environments wherein you live can affect your mental health. And also, it all depends on how the individual is able to cope with some of these things. As Elder said, death, bereavement is an everyday occurrence, but how the individual processes it or responds to it can cause issues with their mental health.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I think you have answered some of the next question, but let me ask. Maybe there are more to add to it. What are some of the common signs and symptoms of mental health? The signs and symptoms. If I'm with a brother or a sister and he's going through a mental, how can I? I know that maybe the way he behaves will change, but maybe there is more to it that maybe you can tell us.
Okay. Some of the signs and symptoms, as you rightly said, one is behavioral change. So, for example, you can see that somebody who is very outgoing, very friendly, very open, becomes withdrawn in their outlook. They tend to become isolative. They are not, you can see, because when something is not going right mentally, it shows in your physical appearance. So you can see signs of neglect, whereby they're not taking any pride or joy in how they appear in their physical appearance. They may be having issues with sleeping or eating. Things like decision making becomes more difficult for them. They are not able to communicate their thoughts properly and generally become withdrawn. These are some of the signs of somebody experiencing a mental health issue. If you want to add to that.
Yeah, and sometimes people become overexcited, going over and above who they are. Thought processes, they jump in from one topic to another topic without any order or without any justification, taking decisions that person would not normally take, reacting to situations in different ways than the person would normally react, sleeping, the person not sleeping or oversleeping, lack of sleep and oversleeping, the not being able to get out of bed and do the things that they love to do, not being able to sleep eat, or sometimes overeating as well. So it's basically behavioral change. Usually you would see that there are signs or there are some of the things that this person is doing which is not the person that you know.
And just to add, sometimes mental health issues express themselves or come out as physical issues. So you would find that the person may be complaining a lot about headaches, aches and pains, stomach problems, a lot of physical issues may be related to mental health. So it's always important to try and eliminate physical causes, and then you look at the mental health side of it.
Yes. Very educative. Yeah. So the physical aspect is also part.
Yes.
It starts from the physical, as you said, you can have headache, stomach pains, and then that will lead to mental health.
It's not the physical pain leading to mental health. Yes, sometimes when some people have certain chronic illnesses, the chronic illnesses and the worry about them can cause them to have mental health issues. But in certain cultures, the language to describe mental health issues is not quite developed.
Okay.
And therefore, people find it really difficult to describe how they're feeling. And so they find physical ways of describing what is happening up here in the mind. And that is where they would talk about headaches or a feeling in the stomach or aches and pains, that kind of stuff.
All right. Thank you so
So,
much.
Mami was talking about ruling out physical health. What she meant is that if you are having a headache and we are able to rule out that this headache is as a result of this physical factors, then you know that paracetamol doesn't treat that headache.
Okay.
But then we need to look at what else can treat that headache, or what else is causing that headache.
Okay.
So it's not literally physical health, the physical health leading to mental health,
Okay.
but the mental health can present itself in a way
Okay.
that may not come strictly as mental health,
Okay.
but can come in a form that is a bit disguised. Like I said, we don't have any machine to be able to strictly diagnose mental health. We have to do it with the presenting behavior of the person. So if people are presenting in certain ways, then we have a code where we will go and check to say that this person is talking blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Okay. So what could it be? Or this person has experienced trauma and all of a sudden has become withdrawn. What could it be? Or this person keeps forgetting things. What could it be? So all these things are symptoms of the mental health that the person may be facing. And therefore, we need to investigate to rule out any physical health issue. And once the physical health issue is ruled out or treated and the symptoms persist, then we look at what other causes could that be. Even constipation can be a big issue in mental health. Dehydration can become an issue in mental health. When you are dehydrated, you can become confused. And it can present itself in different ways.
Wow, I didn't know that. Dehydration.
Yes.
Wow.
It can present. It can present, especially in older adults, as delirium.
Okay.
Whereby, as Elder said, the person would be very, very confused. The way they would act would be just not them. It can also present as in either sweating profusely or sometimes even feeling cold, not being able to eat and drink. So yes, it can present in a lot of ways.
Agitation as well, feeling restlessness, not able to sit down in one place. Yes, a lot of things.
Wow. We are learning a lot today. Yeah, and then thank you so much for the insights. Okay, so I want to ask if a family member is going through mental health, how can I support that person? I know maybe you take the person to the hospital, he will be diagnosed as a mental health patient, maybe a medication, but as a member, a family member at home, how can I support someone who is struggling and going through mental health?
The first thing I would say is you cannot force somebody to accept help. So yes, the person may be going through mental health issues, but the first step in seeking help is the person acknowledging and admitting that, yes, there is a problem here. I can't do it on my own. I need someone to help me. Now, once that acknowledgement, or even before that acknowledgement comes, as a family member, what you can do to support is to be there. being there, being supportive, being of help to that person. Help in the sense that, for example, you notice that this person used to be very, very tidy. Their home environment is tidy. Their appearance always looking well dressed and clean. Suddenly, the house, you go there and things are upside down, their physical appearance. So you can start by offering to help them clean the house, for example, and don't make a big deal of it to start with. Offering help, letting them know that you are always there for them, and ensuring that they know that they can trust you. Because especially for somebody who is experiencing mental health illness for the first time, it can be a very, very scary experience. And so imagine somebody who is really scared. You go in with guns blazing. Oh, you need to do this. You need to get out, snap out of it. Why are you always lying in bed? What is wrong with you? Can't you do that? Can't you do that? That is not going to be helpful for them. But sometimes your very presence there, letting them know, I'm here when you're ready to talk. I'm here when you want us to go out. And being able to do things that you would normally do with that person. You know that they're experiencing mental health issues. So for example, if this person likes to chat, give them a call. Yes, sometimes you call them 1, 2, 3, 4 times, they won't pick up, but don't stop. Keep pressing on, because maybe where they are at that particular point, it is your call that would save them. Yeah. Do you want to add to that?
There are a lot of communities where mental health is a stigma. And as a people, as a nation, I think what we are doing now is part of solving that problem, is to reduce the level of stigma, for people to be able to accept that there is a situation that needs addressing. So first of all, to be able to see people, listen to them without being judgmental is an important aspect of the support that you're giving to people. It's not about threatening them, that if you don't do this, we're going to do this. If you don't do that, we're going to do that. But supporting them and listening to them and offering suggestions. Let me say that you can't force anybody to accept help. However, you can offer the support. But if it comes to the stage, and I am saying this with caution, mental health can be addressed very well without going to hospital. It can be addressed in the community with the support of professionals. It can be addressed by different agencies that have been set up in different aspects of mental health. However, if it gets to that stage where the person is now at risk to himself or to the community, then there has to be an involvement. All right. I don't know whether it's the time to talk about it, but when it gets to that time, there has to be an assessment to know that whether the person has got capacity. If the person has got capacity, he will be offered the support. If he accepts the support, that is fine. If they don't accept the support and he's got capacity, maybe depending on what the doctors will say, we will leave that to the doctors. But if the doctors think that this person hasn't got capacity and the person is not seeking support and is not accepting the support and is a harm to himself, maybe planning to commit suicide, or planning to, or has got a level of aggression where he's targeting people, then it is time for the law to kick in. And what it means is that when the law is going to be kicked in, two doctors, two independent doctors, together with what we call an advanced mental health practitioner, will have to come and assess this person. And once they have seen that on the judgment of these three people, this person hasn't got capacity and is harming himself or herself or harming someone, then they have to do what we call sectioning. They have to section that person, which means that the person may have to be taken against their will to the hospital to be treated. But it is expensive to treat people in hospitals. Therefore, the preferred thing is to treat people in the community if they have got the capacity and they will want to accept the support and the help that is available. Help and support is available, but people will have to be able to accept it, because if you don't accept it, you can't be forced to accept it.
That's great. But I will reserve my question. I wanted to ask something, but I have a lot of questions I've put here, so let me go on with that and then I'll bring this in later. So, what are some of the effective coping strategies for managing stress and anxiety?
When we're talking about stress and anxiety, one, you need to be able to identify what the stresses are. If you are able to identify these stresses, then you will be able to do something about them. Simple lifestyle changes can also help. So, for example, when people are stressed, when people are anxious, sometimes they can't sleep properly, they can't eat well, they can't really function. So, if you identify the source of the stress, then you can start to work to make that better. Some of the things you can do: physical exercise, like just going for walks, getting out of the home environment, just because it's been proven that physical exercise boosts your endorphins and they really help in distressing you. So sometimes how your sleep patterns are, if you can do something about your sleep patterns, they can help relieve your stress. Sometimes it's finding something that you enjoy and doing it. It doesn't have to be something big, but if you're able to identify little things that you can do yourself, little things that you enjoy, you will find that those little things together will make a big impact, and they can help you to cope with your stress and your anxiety.
Right. That
Can I re-echo that physical exercise is extremely important in mental health?
Right.
We cannot underscore it enough, but it does help a lot. So if you are able to identify what the stresses are or what the triggers are, that is the start of the treatment. Because the thing is, medication does not treat everything. Medication doesn't treat poverty. So if lack of money is making you stressed, medication will treat the symptoms, but the lack of money is still there. If that is not treated, it becomes a cycle. You go back and then you come back to it. It's like people who use alcohol to try to forget their problems, only to wake up
That's right.
the next
the problem
morning
is there again.
and so that the problem hasn't gone.
That's it.
But you only try to forget it momentarily. but then you are using the alcohol to keep trying to forget it momentarily, and then you become addicted to the alcohol, and then that becomes a cycle. People use other coping mechanisms. Some are healthy, some are not healthy.
Okay.
So the healthy ones are good diet, eating well is important. Some people, when they become stressed, they start eating,
Okay.
binge eating, binge drinking, right? That could be a sign of a stressor. But good diet, physical exercises, engaging in the community. If you are a Christian or if you're a religious person, engaging with your congregation, prayer, meditation, all these things are really important things. If I have to talk about the negative coping strategies, this is where some people resort to alcohol, drugs, even some people resort to self-harming, right? Maybe cutting themselves, headbanging, and these things. But these things doesn't make it better, it makes it worse. Because now the self-harming becomes a behavior which now turns into another mental health issue that needs to be dealt with. So it's important to realize what coping strategy that I need to use, positive or negative, but obviously positive coping strategies the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And my next question is, how can I distinguish between feeling down and experiencing clinical depressed?
When you're talking about feeling down, everyone feels it from time to time. When you're feeling down, it doesn't last long. Feeling down can be situational. So, for example, something happens, and within that short period, it makes you feel sad. It makes you low in your mood. It goes off, it wears off within a short period, say a few days. Now, when you're talking of clinical depression, it is when these feelings of low mood, feeling worthless, being unable to eat, sleep, generally being unable to function as a normal human being in terms of your activities of daily living, like eating and drinking, taking care of your environment, going out to work, socializing. When these become a problem for weeks on end or months, to the point where sometimes you can't even get out of your bed, that is clinical depression. Sometimes it makes people so down that to even get up to use the bathroom, for example, they just can't. They haven't got the energy. They haven't got the interest. They lose enjoyment in anything and everything. And so they let themselves go. They can't see a way forward. Everything is gloomy. Everything is dark. And that carries on for weeks and months. That is what is termed as clinical depression, and not just feeling down.
Okay, and that does lead to mental health.
That is a mental health diagnosis.
Right.
That, because feeling low, everybody feels it, as I said, from time to time. You're not happy all the time, 100%.
That's right.
You know, there are times when you have a little worry here, a little worry there. But where it is persistent, you know, that's worry, that anxiety, that fear of something dreadful going to happen carries on for weeks and months. That is not feeling low. That is the onset of depression.
Right. Should we go on? You want to
Yeah,
answer?
let's go on. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well explained. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, what type of therapies or treatment options are available for different mental health concerns?
Yeah, so like I said, we've got various stages of mental health, and sometimes it just starts as simple interaction with people, or simply getting the money that you need to survive daily. That solves the problem, because if the money problem is solved, you're not stressed, right? But when it becomes very clinical, then there has to be an intervention. And this intervention can be medication-wise, it can be therapies. And when we talk about therapies, there are different therapies. We've got talking therapies, CBT, what's CBT? Cognitive behavioral therapy. Yes, different type of therapies.
Okay.
To treat, but these things are prescribed by professionals.
Okay. All right. Okay. Mami, do you want to ask something, or should I go?
Just to say that in terms of the treatment, the starting point would be your GP.
Okay.
If you have a chat with your GP about your mental health issues, the GP will then be able to signpost you, make referrals for you, because yes, as Elder said, we've got the community team, we've got the home treatment team, we've got early intervention, the crisis team. There are so many of them available, but most, if not all of them, work on a referral basis. So the best thing is to talk with your GP, and then you will be signposted from there, because assessments need to be made for you to be referred to the most appropriate group for treatment.
Okay. Elder, do you want to ask some more?
No, that's right.
I think my next question has answered also about what lifestyle can help us, which you have mentioned some of them: eating right, exercising, relaxing, and other things. So I think I will move on to the next question. So the next question is, what are some of the misconceptions about mental health that we should be aware of? Misconceptions.
When we're talking of misconceptions, there are quite a few. What I would say to start with is, people think that mental health problems are uncommon. That is not true. When you look at the population, I think the last count, it was 1 in 4, 1 in 5 people have mental health issues. Now, another misconception is that you can recognize somebody who's got mental health issues. Sometimes, yes, you can, but majority of people with mental health issues, you cannot recognize it just by looking at the person physically. There is another misconception that people with mental health issues are violent. This misconception has really been fueled by the media, where you see big headlines about somebody with mental health issues having committed a crime. When you look at the number of people with mental health issues and the instances of these violent occurrences, it's very minimal. But because it's blown out of proportion, people think that, oh, yes, everybody with mental health issues is violent. Another big misconception is that if you have mental health issues, you can't work. That is not correct. Because there are people holding very responsible positions who have mental health issues. It all depends on the treatment and support that you have. Also, people think that once you've got a mental health issue, you can't be cured. It's permanent. You are stuck with it. It's not true.
Right.
Certain mental health issues are very, very well managed and treated.
Right.
So, for example, if you've got reactive depression, it can be properly treated and that's it, it's gone. You won't have it again.
Wow.
But yes, there are certain types of mental health illnesses that reoccur. But with a proper treatment and management, you can still function fully in society. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, it will interest you to know the sort of people from different status who come through mental health. Right. And like I said earlier, I work in a psychiatric intensive care unit, and we got doctors as patients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nurses as patients.
Wow.
Yeah. We've got high profile people, bankers as patients.
Wow.
So again, one of the myths is that mental health is a certain category of people. Mental health can affect anybody at all. It doesn't matter your status. It doesn't matter your grade. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter how tall and short you are. It can affect a lot of people. Can I add quickly that sometimes as Christians, just as we reject even physical health, right? A lot of us do not take into consideration the fact that mental health, if untreated in time, can be severe. And therefore, in as much as I am an elder of the church, I believe that we pray and we get healed because I have prayed for people who have gotten healed. But within the church, we also accept that it is important for you to seek professional help, medical help. And it is easier for people to say that, as for this one, over my head. Okay? And then we do that. But if we had sought treatment earlier, we could have managed it better.
Right.
I am not saying that praying, if you have an issue and you pray, you don't have faith, and you go to hospital, you don't have faith. That is not what I'm saying. But it's the same God who gave the doctors.
That's right.
It's the same God who gives the medications. Right. So it is important for us to engage appropriately.
Very, very important. Very, very important.
Just one quick addition to that. Mental health, as Elder said, affects everyone. And there is this myth that young people do not experience mental health issues. That is a big lie.
Right.
Especially in the current world we live in, I would say that they have more issues with their mental health. And therefore, it's important that not just the young people, but parents, friends, everybody becomes aware so that, as Elder said, early intervention is sought to make a big difference.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much. There's a saying, prevention is better than cure. So very, very important. And I've where believers always reject that we don't have it, we are praying. I mean, today we have heard that the earlier, if you see the symptoms and you seek for help, I mean, I didn't even know that mental health can be totally, cured.
Oh yes,
I
mean, a lot of mental health. Where I work as a psychiatric intensive care unit, we don't expect you to remain there for 3 months.
No.
Right.
You come into an intensive care unit when you are most unwell, but we hope that that is why on the first instance, you are sectioned on section 2, which is a 28 days.
Okay.
All right. So after the 28 days, if the doctors think that you still need to be in hospital, then you're given a section 3, which is a 6 months.
Right.
All right. But a lot of people come within 28 days, they are discharged back home, sometimes back to the community. Sometimes they are stepped down to receive less restrictive interventions.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a done deal that I've got this mental health issue.
And it's
That is
forever.
it. Some people, it's the first episode that they had. You come, you're treated, you go back, you may never have it.
Okay.
Sometimes, yes, it can be reoccurring. However, you can be put on a treatment plan, either a medication or therapy or whatever it is. You can be put on a treatment plan to prevent reoccurrence or to keep monitoring. If you're becoming unwell, then intervention can come in quickly before you become too unwell. But a lot of people with mental health are in their daily jobs.
Right.
As nurses, as doctors, as teachers, as policemen, as military, taxi drivers, everywhere, even as pastors,
Wow, yeah.
people have got mental health issues.
That's amazing. Thank you for the insight. You know, we are learning a lot today, and we are so grateful to have you. How can I prioritize self-care for my mental health? How can I prioritize?
Well, taking care of your body is an accountability for the body that God has given you. So I believe that it has to be a priority that you do not let go of your body such that your body will inherit diseases, right? And if, as we know, if we don't look after the body well, we are weakening the body. And the more we get weakened in the body, it can have severe effects on our mental health. So how can you do that? Discipline, boundaries, really important. A person without discipline or boundaries, you do anything you want to do without any regard to anything. But it's important to have that discipline in yourself and need to exercise. All right, you try as much as possible. We are not saying that do this like a military style, 30 minutes or 1 hour every day for 7 days. No, you can't do that. But have a certain level of discipline to say that at least I need to be able to keep myself fit. If the whole week I haven't done anything and I've been laying in bed sleeping, you realize that by the time you put yourself back on the scale, you've added 5 kilos to yourself, right? In the same way, if you are eating and not eating well, all right, binge eating, not cooking at home, eating from outside, morning, afternoon, evening, these things can have effects. Even the drinks that we drink, these energy drinks,
That's it.
they are deadly. These energy drinks are very, very deadly, right? And people binge on it. You can be killing yourself. So it's putting in that restrictions and knowing what to do and what not to do. Certain behaviors, right? People smoking, going around, put in boundaries. This is not my part. This is not what I want to do because I am damaging myself.
Thank you so much, Daddy. Thank you. My next question is, how does culture and society influence our understanding and perception of mental health?
I think Elder touched on this earlier on. In terms of the culture, there is a lot of stigma attached. And because of stigma, people are very silent about mental health issues. So there is a lack of knowledge and understanding about mental health. And anything that is shrouded in mystery creates a lot of problems. So, for example, even in health services, when you're talking about mental health and physical health, the moment physical health nurses hear that, oh, this person is coming from a mental health setting, their whole attitude changes. The way they look at the person. The first question that they tend to ask when we sending people to hospital is, oh, are you going to send a member of staff with them? As if to say that that person is so dangerous that I can't deal with them. But if we're sending somebody who's got mental health to a general hospital, it's for their physical health, not mental health. So why should that cause you issues? So the stigma and lack of understanding causes us to view and interact with people with mental health in a very different way. We look at them as a different species of human beings, and it shouldn't be. Because yes, people may have mental health issues, but when they are well, they can be fully functional members of community. Do you want to add on to that?
Yeah, so like Mami said earlier, statistics show that 20 to 25% of the population has got mental health issues, which means that if we are about 10 people in this room, 2 of us may have mental health issues, and we are all working together. There are within certain cultures where mental health is very, very stigmatic. So they do not want people to know or to hear. And if you are a person with mental health in that family, you can't even mention it, because the moment you mention it, the response that you receive can be very damaging. I work with people who have got mental health issues and they are receiving treatment, and yet their family do not know, because they do not want their family to know. Because according to them, if they do allow their family to know, the family's reaction to them is going to be different. But these people are people who are functioning well in the society. Some of them are in education, some of them are in their workplaces, but they identify that I have got this issue and I need help, and they come for help. Right. So certain communities, but let's pray that we are not part of those communities, and we will be able to support people. What we are doing is to educate people to say that if someone has got a mental health issue, that person is still a human being, is a person, and can be functioning perfectly as we are.
Thank you so much. We are learning a lot, and I think as you are saying, the stigma that is why people are refusing to accept that they have the mental, because of what people will think of, or how people will look at them. And it comes even into the church. Sometimes people don't want to accept it that they have the mental. But we are learning today that if you see the signs, as our daddy and our mommy have said, the earlier the better, and you are not cast out of the community, you are still part of us. So just go and seek for help, and I believe you'll be fine and you'll be cured. Amen.
And I believe also our language. Okay, you see, after we are talking, sometimes we use us and them, right? As if they are a different species of people, but it's the same sample of the population. Okay, that part of us could be. So let's be mindful of what language that we also use.
Thank you so much for that. Correcting, So I think my last question will be, how does I think I've asked, what resources are available for seeking professional help in for mental health? I think we've talked
we have touched on
about that already.
In addition to the various resources like the community mental health team, early intervention, the crisis team, your GP as a first point of contact. There are also a lot of organizations, non-governmental organizations like the Samaritans, this Mind, a whole lot of them. And there is a lot of online help available.
Okay.
There are a lot of online support groups, peer support groups, whereby you can, you know, you don't need anybody to refer you to an online group.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't
what I
need
was saying too.
to go face to face if that will be an issue for you. There are lots and lots of online support that you can access. And with that, you get different, like when you go on the website for Mind, there are different aspects in there because mental health is such a broad spectrum. So you've got things about stress, anxiety, depression, bipolar, you know, so many
Different of
things.
them.
And you've got different peer support groups within it that you can access. And when you read some of the blogs, people have really found these very, very helpful.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So within the home treatment team, we've got a few resources like apart from seeking the actual professional resources, some of the online, we've got a waiting room support. I've got all their QR codes here. Health help therapy counseling support, suicide safety plan, Hopeline's resources, rehab for addiction, drug and alcohol rehabilitation, refugee and migrant support, LGBTQI, asylum seekers, housing, social inclusion, micro rainbow support, sleep hygiene, St. Basil's. St. Basil's is basically for accommodation.
Okay.
Survivors UK, Aquarius is also alcohol, CGL, Birmingham carers, people who are also caring for sick people can be very prone to mental health. They can be very susceptible to mental health because imagine your whole life you have been caring for this person over and over again, and you don't even have the time to socialize yourself. Someone is severely physically disabled in your household that you are their carer. Those people are very, very vulnerable. They have a helpline. Cruise bereavement, people who have got bereavement and they need support. Alcoholics Anonymous, a lot. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I think we'll put some of them on the screen so that if somebody wants to access. Yeah, but I think you were talking about referral. I mean that some of them your doctor have to refer, your GP have to. You know, now GPs has become, is there some of them that you can just walk in without the GP referrals? Are there some?
A lot, there are some available, like a lot of the non-governmental organizations, you can self-refer.
Okay.
So you can call, or with the helpline, the lines are open. Some of them are 24 hours. So it's just a matter of taking the phone and calling. Yes, you can self-refer. You do not always have to wait on the GP. Because these days, even when the GP has referred you, our waiting list for the NHS is so long that it might take forever. And when somebody is experiencing mental health issues, it's not something that you want to wait 6 months to be seen. So yes, there are self-referrals available.
And there are also people who can be in crisis. So if you are in a crisis, we've got crisis helplines that you can call. You can get them on internet. If you call, look at crisis helpline for mental health, or if you call NHS 111, they will direct you to the appropriate crisis. So let's treat mental health like you're treating physical health. If
you
you have a crisis of physical health, you call an ambulance.
That's right.
The same way, if you have a crisis in mental health, you call for 111. They will be able to direct you to the appropriate place. Can I also add quickly that one particular set of people who are overrepresented in mental health is people who are in identity situations. So people among the LGBTQI group can be very vulnerable to mental health.
Okay.
And I would say that they are overrepresented in mental health. When I say they are overrepresented, it means that if you take the whole population and they are 1% of the population, proportionally, they should be 1% of the mental health population. But it is possible they are 5% of the mental health population, which means that they are overrepresented.
Okay.
Yeah. So people in that group can be very vulnerable as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So at this point, I will allow maybe 2-3 minutes for each of you to round everything up. If there's something we haven't asked and you want to add to it, we'll just allow a few minutes for you to round things up before we end the program.
I would just say that let's talk more about mental health because it is a part of our human situation. We don't talk about it enough because of the stigma associated with it, because of the mystery, because of lack of understanding and information. But the more we open up, the more we're able to talk about it, the more we're able to seek help, the easier the conversation will be. And also, don't think that once you've got a mental health condition, you are stuck with it forever. Recovery is possible, but recovery is a journey. And the journey of life is different for every individual. Sometimes, for one person, recovery might be a straight route. For another person, there would be 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But so long as there's movement, then there is hope and recovery is possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mami.
To add, it is important for all of us to know that help is available. Please seek help in time. Do not wait until it is too late. Records and research suggests that a lot of conditions, if treated in time, can save people from a lot of difficulties. And therefore, attending to your mental health in time is important. A lot of lifestyle changes can alter our state of mental health. And therefore, it is important that we make right choices. And if we identify certain stresses, let's look at how best we can deal with the stresses so that we don't have to end up with the stressor dealing with us. Because at that time, you will have 2 problems to solve, the stressor and yourself. It is also important that mental health is not a done deal. Mami has said it, you have the opportunity to have a journey and a plan. Make use of it. Thankfully, in this country, we've got the resources. Sometimes it may not be straightforward, but I can tell you that there is a lot of help available. But as every other illness, the NHS is stressed, the system is choked, mental health beds are like gold dust. It goes quick. If there is a situation, please seek help in time. And for us as general public, if someone speaks to you about their mental health, can we be very mindful of how we support that person and not to end up broadcasting in different ways? Oh, this person is this person is that. The person may have a temporal issue, or the person may just need love. The person may just be lonely and needs some form of reconnection. All we need is to be able to support the people appropriately. And if there is anyone who doesn't know how to support people, it's important that you reach out to the professionals. There are professionals in the church. As we speak, in where my church, where I worship, we've got over 10 to 20 mental health nurses in here. We've got doctors as well in the church. A lot of us can signpost you. If you are in a crisis, call 111 and you'll be directed appropriately. Mental health is real. It's not a fiction. It's not a myth. It is real. However, we can all work together to beat mental health and to stay sane all the time. Amen.
Amen. Wow. What an educative program. God bless you so much for coming tonight. We want to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to our Daddy Fred, Wachijabai, and our Mommy Lydia Boabin for making time to come on this program. We have learned a lot, and I believe, as Mommy says, we are not going to stop talking about mental health. We have to go on educating people so that people will take it, serious to seek for help. And I believe they will be cured, as you have said. God bless you so much for coming tonight. We are so grateful to have you. Amen.
Amen.
All right, viewers, this is how we bring our program to an end. We want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you for joining us. As I said, my name is Linda Tedeku, and I am the host for tonight. We will see you again on another episode. Take care and God bless.